Using sketch lines can be an easy way to create object snaps for building new line work. Unfortunately, sketch lines have to be erased when they're no longer needed. In this lesson, we're going to look at temporary tracking, a tool that allows us to create geometry without the need for sketch lines. On my screen, I have a drawing of a typical front door, and to the left of it, I have an unfinished drawing. Let me mention that this is an architectural example. So, we will be entering our measurements using feet and inches. The goal in this lesson is to finish this drawing on the left by adding the doorknob and the deadbolt using the provided dimensions. Before we get started, I'd like to take care of a little housekeeping. First, I'm going to come down to the status bar and I'm going to turn my dynamic input back on, otherwise known as a heads-up display. Now, we can also toggle that using the F12 key. Also note that I am using running object snap, and I've currently selected endpoint, midpoint and center. Finally, I'm going to zoom in on the lower portion of the doors, and I'll center those on screen. We'll place the doorknob first. I know that the center of the doorknob measures 3 feet above the bottom of the door and 2¼ inches from the edge. To find this point in the drawing, I could come up and launch my line command, and I could snap to the corner of the door. I could lock my ortho and pull this straight up 3 feet, enter. I could then pull to the right a distance of 2-1/4 inches, enter. I'll press escape when I'm done, and this endpoint represents the center of this circle. Now there's nothing wrong with this method. The only downside is I have to erase this geometry when I'm finished. Let's take these out. I'll do that by clicking each of these lines and I'll press the delete key. I will also come down and turn my ortho back off. Let's try and place the doorknob using temporary tracking. Using temporary tracking, I can simply show AutoCAD how to get to the desired point. I'll start by launching the circle command, and when AutoCAD asks for the center point, I'll type TK. This stands for temporary tracking, and I'll press enter. Note that the ortho is turned on automatically. All I have to do now is give AutoCAD the directions. So I'll snap to the corner of the door. I will then pull straight up. In the event you're having difficulty pulling up using temporary tracking, simply hover over the object snap and then pull up. I'll come up 3 feet and I'll press enter. I will then pull to the right 2-1/4 inches, enter. Now that I'm where I want to be, I'll hit enter to accept this location and then resume the circle command. This circle has a diameter. I'll select the diameter sub-option and I'll type 2-1/4 inches. As you can see, I was able to place the doorknob without the need for any sketch lines. Let's try and place the deadbolt using temporary tracking. I know it needs to be positioned to 6 inches above the doorknob. Once again, I'll launch the circle command. At the center point prompt, I'll type TK and press enter. My first tracking point will be the center of this circle. I'll pull straight up and I'll type 6 inches. I'll then press enter to accept this location, and I'll give this circle a diameter of 2-3/8 inches. When it comes to locating points in space, consider using temporary tracking. By simply giving AutoCAD directions, you can easily place geometry without the need for sketch lines.